Ladies and gentlemen, history is unfolding right now. President Donald J. Trump has just crossed the line that the global elite swore that he would never dare to cross. He's officially declared war on the cartels. And in a scene that's straight out of a Cold War thriller, U.S. F-35 stealth jets, they're now roaring over the Caribbean skies, locking eyes with Venezuelan fighters as Nicolás Maduro scrambles to rally a so-called 8 million man militia. But here's the truth, guys. His regime is completely stunned. His cartels they're cornered, and the world just got a very real taste of what it looks like when America goes back on offense. Yes, folks, the cartels are completely stunned. This isn't just about headlights. This is about survival. Drug cartels, narco terrorists, and their state sponsors have poisoned more Americans than any enemy in history. And today, whenever you're watching this, with destroyers armed, Marines deployed, and stealth jets circling, the question isn't if a clash comes, it's when. So stay right there, guys, because in just a couple minutes, I'm going to break down every shocking move from President Trump's order to bring back the War Department, to Venezuela's jets buzzing U.S. warships, to the $50 million bounty that could topple Maduro from within. Guys, the stakes here could not be any higher, and what happens next will decide whether this ends with a cartel collapse or a full-blown world war on America's doorstep. Now, under President Trump, America is no longer sitting back. We're not playing defense. We're not waiting for another overdose statistic to roll in. Today, President Trump has declared all-out war on the cartels, and not just with words. The roar of U.S. stealth jets over the Caribbean is sending shockwaves across this hemisphere. Hit the like button and subscribe if you appreciate the news, folks. Venezuelan director Nicolás Maduro, he is completely stunned, scrambling, trying to call this an act of war. But let's be clear, Trump's not hiding. He's not even hedging. He's not even apologizing. In fact, the president has gone on offense. He is announcing that the cartels who have poisoned millions of Americans will now face the full might of the United States Army. So the question on everybody's mind today is this. Is this the breaking point? Is Venezuela and the cartels going to back down? Or are we on the verge of direct confrontation between the most powerful nation in history and a narco state propped up by terrorists? Well, guys, I want to talk about Maduro's desperate move because it's getting real desperate out there. In the face of U.S. jets roaring above the Caribbean and destroyers that are parked right off of his coast, he stood up and claimed he has 8 million citizens ready to die for him. 8 million citizens. That's what he wants the world to believe. But here's the reality. Venezuela's population has been gutted. Millions of people have already fled the country in one of the worst refugee crises on earth, really. In fact, experts are saying that only about 3 million people actually voted for Maduro back in 2024. And yet now we're supposed to be believing that, 8 million people are going to be marching into battle for a man that he can't even feed their own people? Not to mention only 3 million people voted for him. Why would 8 million people want to go to war for him, throw their lives on the line? Heck, there may not even be 8 million people in that freaking country anymore. Social media in Venezuela is mocking the so-called militia, pointing out how malnourished and ill-equipped these people are. I mean, this isn't strength. This is bravado. This is desperation. And that desperation is exactly what makes this moment so freaking dangerous, because when the dictators bluff, sometimes they double down. Sometimes they take reckless action just to prove that they're not bluffing. So you got to ask yourself, is Maduro bluffing? Or is this the setup for a reckless clash with American Marines, American destroyers, and American stealth jets circling overhead? Now, here's something that people don't always think about. Your Medicare coverage doesn't just affect you. It actually affects your entire family. When your plan doesn't work, think about it. Your kids and your grandkids often have to step in and pitch in and help to pay. That's not fair for them, is it? This is why I partner with Chapter. They help people. They help you to secure a plan that protects not only you, but the people who love you. Now, one viewer said, calling Chapter gave me peace of mind that my family wouldn't be stuck with my bills. So let me ask you, do you want to burden your family? Or would you rather protect them like most people already are? Now, most people are calling the number at the bottom of your screen right there, or they're visiting askchapter.org/Ron. Their phone number is 909-563-8279. So now I want to move into the real show of force, okay? Because President Donald Trump didn't just declare war on the cartels with words, he backed it up with muscle. 10 brand new F-35 stealth fighters have been ordered straight into Puerto Rico. Think about that. Stealth jets capable of striking anywhere in the Caribbean, now stationed just hours away from Maduro's backyard. That's not all, guys. In fact, right alongside them, U.S. Navy destroyers are already prowling the waters, bristling with Tomahawk missiles. Now, if you add in 4,500 Marines and sailors from the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit, running drills and amphibious operations, then you've got a strike force that can level any cartel stronghold or even Venezuelan Air Force in minutes. So let's be honest, guys. This isn't just about chasing down drug boats. No. This is about sending a very crystal clear message here to Maduro and every cartel boss that's tied to him. Your days are numbered. The U.S. is no longer playing defense. Trump has turned the Caribbean into a war zone of American dominance. But here's where the tension spikes, because with stealth jets, airborne, and destroyers within striking distance, all it takes at this point is one wrong move, one reckless flyover by Maduro's F-16s, one missile lock, one trigger pull, and the Caribbean explodes into a full-scale conflict. Let's talk about the $50 million question here, okay? Yes, that's right, guys. The United States has put a bounty on Nicolás Maduro's head. $50 million for anyone in his inner circle willing to hand him over. And with American warships at his doorstep, jets in the sky, and the Marines on the beaches, the pressure is suffocating. Now ask yourself, how many of his generals, his bodyguards, his so-called loyalists are already thinking about turning this guy in? $50 million? Pretty sure a lot of people are, right? Drop a $50 million, drop a 50M in the comments if you think that some of his people are already starting to think about what they could buy with that money if they just turn that guy in, right? Safety for their families. Heck, think about how many people are in Venezuela right now malnourished. They can't even afford food. Who wouldn't take $50 million to put their family in a better place, right? So the question, the question isn't, if. I think it's more like when. And the chance to walk away from that horrible situation there, meanwhile, Maduro becomes the fall guy. Who wouldn't do it? The question isn't just will Maduro fight America? It's will his own men even let him try? Could this so-called war not end with a U.S. strike, but with a betrayal from the inside turning him in? Because when you're this isolated, mocked, desperate, and staring down the might of the United States military, loyalty has a way of evaporating real fast. You know what I'm saying here, guys? So I'm gonna go ahead and put it to you. Will Maduro be toppled from within before the first shot's even fired? Or are we about to see the Caribbean light up with the firepower of the F-35 stealth jets and the U.S. destroyers? I almost think it's about 50-50 at this point. So here's where the fight takes on a whole new dimension. President Trump has officially redefined the battlefield, declaring that these drug cartels are no longer just criminals. They're now labeled as officially terrorists, narco-terrorists at that. So I want to be real. The numbers back him up. More Americans have been poisoned, more lives have been stolen, more families shattered by fentanyl and cartel trafficking than any terrorist organization in history. 400,000 deaths during Biden's failed years alone. President Trump and his Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, they're saying enough is enough at this point. No more red tape, no more defense. Every tool is now on the table to crush the cartels, the drone strikes, the naval bombardments, stealth jet operations, everything. Think about what this means, right? If cartels are threatened like Al-Qaeda or ISIS, then rules of engagement are no longer cautious. They're lethal. So if they're terrorists, there's no more safe havens. There's no protected waters. There's no hiding in another country's ports. They are targets anywhere, anytime. And so this really brings us to the razor's edge moment that we're standing on right now. Because while America is declaring cartels as terrorists, Venezuela is acting like their Air Force is a part of the same fight. So in just the last 48 hours, ladies and gentlemen, not just once, but twice, Venezuelan F-16 fighter jets buzzed the USS Jason Dunham. This is an American-guided missile destroyer in international waters. Now, the Pentagon called it highly provocative. Trump was even more blunt. If those jets threaten our ships again, they will be shot down. Now, picture that for a second. Venezuelan F-16s screaming low over a U.S. warship, American sailors on deck with their fingers on the trigger, F-35s overhead with missiles locked. We are literally one wrong decision, one moment of arrogance, one overflight too close from sparking the first U.S. Venezuelan dogfight in history. So I want to ask you guys, do you think Maduro's pilots are bluffing? Or is this brinkmanship, a game of chicken that could end in fireballs over the Caribbean? Because make no mistake, guys, with President Trump in the White House, the warning's not idle. Trump's not some, no pansy. If they cross the line, they're going to get shot out of the sky. So I want to go ahead and talk about a shift that's so symbolic, it's so powerful that it tells you exactly where this is all heading. President Trump has officially brought back the Department of War. That's right, guys. There's no more Department of Defense. No more passive posture. In fact, Trump signed the order just yesterday, actually a couple days ago, September 5th, declaring that America is done playing defense and will once again operate under the banner of the War Department. Now, this is not just a name change. This is a statement of intent. Trump said it himself, maximum lethality, not tepid legality, okay? That means no hesitation, no apologies, no my bads, no limits when it comes to protecting the American people. Signs have already changed in the Pentagon. Pete Hegseth is no longer defense secretary. Pete Hegseth is now the Secretary of War. Ooh, that's a big difference, guys. So he cheered the change, saying, we're going on the offense, not just defense. Watch out. So this is exactly what scares Maduro and his cartel allies, because a nation on offense doesn't wait to get hit. It strikes first, and it strikes very hard. Now, of course, not everybody in Washington is cheering about this. Critics have come out swinging. Vice President J.D. Vance has been accused of war crimes after the U.S. strike that sank a Venezuelan drug boat and killed 11 cartel members earlier this week. His response? I don't give a blank. He said killing cartel traffickers, poisoning Americans is the highest and best use of the U.S. military. Now, on the other side, Democrats like Ilhan Omar are calling Trump's actions unconstitutional, lawless aggression carried out without congressional approval. Congress is, well, at least according to Ilhan Omar, she's saying Congress don't even support what Trump's doing. They claim the president is overstepping, that this isn't America defending itself, it's America starting a war. Drop me a comment, guys. Is Ilhan Omar right or is Trump right? Now, here's the dividing line. 400,000 Americans lost to overdoses during Biden's time in office. Families shattered, towns gutted, children burned, and ultimately buried. And the critics are still wanting to tie Trump's hands. Why? Right? I mean, supporters are arguing that what Trump is doing is overdue justice. Justice that the last administration never had the courage to deliver. So I'm going to go ahead and put it to you this way. Whose side are you on? The side that says America has the right to go on offense against narco terrorists, or the side that wants to keep playing defense while our kids die from fentanyl flooding across the border? Because in Trump's America, the days of handwriting and hand-wringing are over. This is war, declared, deliberate, and carried out in the skies over the Caribbean. Now, let's go ahead and widen the lens just a second, okay? Because this fight is not just about Venezuela. Nicolás Maduro is playing a very dangerous global gambit. For years, his regime has been in bed with terrorists and narco traffickers. Now, with American destroyers off his coast and stealth jets in the sky, he's trying to rally allies and rattle sabers. Maduro has threatened neighboring Guyana, eyeing their massive offshore oil reserves. His military talks about seizing territory, not for the land, but for the oil. Now, here's a kicker. China and Russia are also watching all of this unfold very closely. They're testing how far Trump's willing to go. They're essentially, and remember, guys, just a few weeks ago, Beijing and Moscow, they held joint celebrations parading their unity against the United States. Trump's answer, Chinese out, narco dictators are out, a new sheriff is in town. That's the message the War Department is sending across the hemisphere. And you can feel the tension. Is this the first domino in a larger confrontation? Could one strike on a cartel vessel spiral into a global showdown with America's biggest adversaries standing behind Maduro? And so this brings us to the closing stakes, the point of no return. Right now, as I speak, U.S. stealth jets, they're airborne. They're circling quietly over the Caribbean. American destroyers are sitting locked and loaded. Marines run live fire drills in Puerto Rico. Cartel strongholds are targeted. Venezuelan fighters are buzzing dangerously close. And Nicolás Maduro is mocked, desperate, and cornered. President Donald J. Trump has just declared war on the cartels, and today the Caribbean is a powder keg. So the only question left is, will Maduro blink first, or will the roar of American jets turn into the thunder of war? So if you think that this is over, guys, you're clearly wrong, okay? The story is only just beginning, and the next 24 hours could ultimately decide whether we see Maduro toppled from within or a U.S. dogfight erupt over the Caribbean. So let me ask you, is Maduro bluffing, or is he about to find out exactly what happens when you challenge the United States of America under Donald J. Trump? Like this video, drop your thoughts down below. I want to hear from you guys. And don't forget, YouTube believes that you're really going to enjoy the next video that just popped up on your screen. Click it because it connects directly to what we're seeing tonight, and you're not going to want to miss what comes next.